Hey guys, let's talk again about the old fundamental analysis. Real quick, what is it? It's often used in the traditional stock market to get a sense of the underlying value of the company that's being traded. And when you're doing this, you're going to look at things like the people behind the company, what the company does, are they doing it well, all of these kinds of things to tell you, is it a good company or not? Then you can look at the price and decide, is it reflecting the potential of the company? Or if it's lower than what you think the company should be valued at, that would be a good time to buy. If it's higher, then you would think, I'm out. So a lot of people who are familiar with this in the traditional stock market actually don't even realize that it can be applied to crypto, but it can. And even if you have no idea what fundamental analysis is, it can still be useful to you. Think about the times when somebody tells you about their favorite project, especially in some video online, and then at the end they say, but do your own research. And you think, I don't know how to do my own research. This research is basically fundamental analysis. So today I'm going to take Stellar Lumens as an example and go over some of the most basic things you can look at to get your own idea of a blockchain project and make some of your own decisions. Of course, anything like this is going to be much more useful the more you know about cryptocurrencies and blockchains and the market and whatever particular part that this project is focusing on. But even if you don't know that much about any of this, it's still good to know how to do some basic analysis so that you can at least have some of your own opinion on the project instead of only listening to other people. And then you can also feel good about yourself when somebody says, do your own research. You can say, okay, I did it. All right, so these very basic questions that we're going to ask at the beginning to get that really simple overview are going to be, number one, what is it? And what's the point? So what is it being, is it DeFi? Is it a game? Is it built on something else? Is it its own blockchain? That kind of thing. And then what's the point? It's going to be like, what are they trying to do? So you can't just say, oh, this is a blockchain. All right, done. You want to know, all right, what kind of blockchain? Why would anybody use this blockchain over another blockchain? So that's the first question we're going to ask. The next question we're going to ask is who is behind it? So a lot of projects will have an anonymous team, which can be okay. Any one of these questions isn't enough to give you that good of an idea about the fundamental analysis by itself. So that's why we ask several questions. But if it's not anonymous, then you can check the team. Is there anybody who's famous in the space? Or even if they're not famous, you can research them. Maybe you just haven't heard of them and see what their background is, see if they seem like an expert who's going to provide value to this project. The third question we're going to ask is who is supporting it? So we can see if there's any well-known person who is saying, hey, this is a good project, or hey, I bought into this, or hey, I used this. So this could be a person, it could be a company. We can look at who they're working with, who used them, whether it's a person or a company. All right, the next question we're going to ask is the project unique? And if there's any competitors, and if there are competitors, which one is better, or which one, or does this project have some unique element that might bring it above the competitor? And then you can decide for yourself which one is better, or if you think that they're not direct competitors, then maybe you want to search that other project, and hey, there's nothing stopping you from getting both, or neither. It's totally up to you. And then finally, we're going to check the white paper, which is a very technical document, and so therefore not super basic, and we're trying to keep it basic today. So when we check the white paper, all we're really going to do is just see, is there a white paper, and how official does it look? But I would encourage you to read through these white papers if you're trying to build up your knowledge base. It's going to have a lot of technical details, but depending on how much time you want to put into it, you can research everything that you don't know, and that's how you know more. Okay, let's get started. All right, here we go. Stellar Lumens, first question, what is it? I'm going to introduce you to a great tool here called Google. I'm sure you've never heard of it. It's a great search engine though. So let's look, Stellar Lumens. All right, ignore the ad. Here's their website. Let's go. Stellar is an open network for storing and moving money. But what does that mean? Let's keep looking. can read. Stellar makes it possible to create, send, and trade digital representations of all forms of money. Dollars, pesos, Bitcoin, pretty much anything. It's designed so all the world's financial systems can work together on a single network. Stellar's API and SDKs are ready to help you transform the world of finance. So if you don't know what these are, they're things that people who want to build on Stellar can use to help them build more easily. All right, so one of their goals we can see here is giving small companies the power and reach of an international bank. We can try to evaluate if they are doing that in a way that makes sense. Global payments apps, something you can build on there. Asset exchanges, another thing that can be built on Stellar. Micropayment services. And as we saw earlier, it's designed for the developers. All right, from there, we can decide all of this is a little bit vague, so we can click on the Learn More. Another thing that gives this project a few points is you can see that their website is well made and has a lot of information on it. That already gives you some clue, okay, this seems like a more legitimate project. It's not something somebody just threw together real quick. Open source network for currencies and payments. And then again, their unique selling proposition is that you can create and trade these digital representations of these currencies. Has no owner, of course, it's decentralized. All right, and then you can read more about what it's for. And then scrolling down, we can find what the Lumen is, the part that you actually buy, its native token. So this paragraph is good because it gives you an idea of what the native token, the one that you'll actually buy if you want to invest in it, is used for. So that not only Stellar has its own value proposition for what it is as an entire project, but the value proposition of the native token. So they're using it essentially to power their whole system, which is often the case with tokens that are part of a bigger project. Essentially, you set up a 1-1 relationship between your digital token and a traditional dollar, or if you read on any other currency. This is also how USDT works and all of these stable coins. All right, and then they mention why is this unique? It might seem unexceptional, but they're going to tell us why it's not unexceptional, and it is fact exceptional. And then they give you a little for instance here. So with these tokens built on Stellar, no bank has to settle the purchase or approve the loan. Furthermore, it doesn't matter where the people live. They can still own the tokens and trade them however they please. So here they have their statement about their value. The Stellar network makes money borderless. So you can evaluate for yourself, oh, is this something that I think is going to be valuable in the real world if they do it well? And then you can see here, again, if you want to go into a deeper fundamental analysis, you can access those more complicated, intense, longer documents. Here they have a peer-reviewed paper that's published about them. Then finally, at the very bottom, where's Stellar going? So this will tell you their goal, their future goal. Enables a future where everyday people can send money anywhere affordably and quickly. So we've got our first question answered pretty easily. Stellar Lumens is its own blockchain, and its purpose is for creating tokens that are 100% backed by some other existing commodity, mostly currencies. So you can make one tied exactly to the US dollar or to the Japanese yen or whatever you want to tie it to. And one of their focuses is on making it easy for developers to develop on it. So basically, its own blockchain and focused on making a digital version of all kinds of money in order to make everything smoother, easier, and one of the main focuses, borderless. All right, so now we know what it is. Let's move on to who's behind it. All right, finding the team. We're back at the main page of the Stellar website. Probably we're gonna find it up here, Stellar Foundation, yeah, company, and here we have the team. Scroll down, and look, we've got them here. So they have a known team. They're not anonymous. First, you can see if there's anybody you already know. If not, you can pick one of them. Here we have founder, and here we have founder. So let's research these founders, shall we? All right, Jeb, let's see what you've done. Here we have Forbes.com has a profile on this guy. Wow, $2 billion net worth, nice. Early pioneer in blockchain space, 3 well-known crypto firms, Mt. Gox, co-founded Ripple, co-founding Stellar, and wealth comes from the XRP that he holds. There we go. So just a very basic background on one of the founders. All right, so easy enough. We found the team on this one, and at least one of the founders has founded other projects, and he's been in the blockchain space as a big player for a long time. So we've got that. Now let's do a quick check to see if there's anybody we know, anybody with high credentials that are saying anything about Stellar or investing in it. This one can be a little bit harder because it's not necessarily going to be listed on their website, and you might not necessarily know any of these people, but we can see if we can search it real quick. Let's go back there to the main page. It was at the bottom. Built on Stellar, see all projects. Oh, and then we've come up on something else. They have case studies. This will be a very good thing to review if you're wanting to delve even deeper on your fundamental analysis. All right, if we don't know any of these, we can just assume that they've put the best ones at the top. So let's go see what Circle is about. Payments into treasury infrastructure for the internet. All right, sounds kind of like Stellar Lumens. But I guess they are using Stellar. So let's go to this company's about. All right, we can see their team here. I don't think they're using real pictures. Just for the sake of completeness, let's search Circle. All right, I already went to their website. Let's check their Investopedia page. And now we find something that you may have heard of. Circle launched the stablecoin USD coin. Should be USDC. See, fundamental analysis, you're just searching on the internet, right? It's doing research, so sometimes you'll go down little rabbit holes. But all the information you gather is useful information. So let's look at USD coin. Let's see if it's big. Market cap. All right, here we see they've got a market cap, wow, of 26 billion, almost 27 billion. 24-hour trading volume of almost 2 billion. So there we go. Another project, Circle, that's working with Stellar, has made USD coin, which is ranked number 7 on CoinMarketCap. We can see at least one other very big project that's working with Stellar, so we can give them some points for that. Okay, again, we're just doing a very basic, brief introduction to fundamental analysis using Stellar as our example. So for every little point that we're looking at, we're just looking at it on a surface level, going through it quickly. So for the supporters of Stellar, we looked at other companies using Stellar. We found Circle, and then we found that Circle made a USD coin, and that's a very, very successful project on the blockchain. So we can see at least one example of somebody working with Stellar that has a lot of rep. So we can move on from here to look at the next point, which is competitors. So let's check their competitors and then check Stellar to see, are they better or do they have some other unique thing that makes them competitive? Or is there somebody else that's going to win out in this space? So from here, sometimes you'll end up wanting to go do some analysis of the competitor. We'll try to avoid too much of that for this video, but as I already said, fundamental analysis can go really deep, so it's up to you how deep you want to go. Anyway, let's take that look at competitors. Let's go ahead and just simply Google, because we're keeping it simple. Stellar Lumens Competitors. Boom, other people are looking for it. A stellar alternative, XRP. Uh-oh. Is Ethereum really a competitor? I guess so. But Ethereum is obviously, you know about Ethereum. It's doing its own thing. And there's Omis Go as well. So let's look at XRP. That's the one that I actually already noticed. XRP. XRP versus XLM heats up. So we know these are real competitors. Stellar eyes X Ripple partner ManyGram. Another thing we noticed that we can also take a quick look at. All right, let's go to ripple.com. The best digital asset for global payments. They're saying that they're the best. All right, how is XRP used? Okay, but do they do the same thing? RippleNet, RippleX. Okay, they do also have a developer platform. All right, this sounds most like Stellar's own selling proposition. Develop on the XRP ledger. Okay, but their use cases, gaming, media, and payments. So they have broader use cases that they're putting out there. You can take that how you want. That could mean that, oh, this does what Stellar does, but it also does more. Or you can think, oh, maybe they're too broad, because sometimes that focus can really help strive for success. All right, so we're trying to see how much it is like Stellar. So we're trying to find the things that are similar. So let's go down to this use cases and payments section. Read docs. List XRP, that's not really different. All right, well, one thing against Ripple, it seems to have a little bit less explanation than Stellar. All right, then let's go back to Google and try to figure out how similar it is. So Stellar is basically trying to let you make coins tied to the value of something else, like the US dollar. Is XRP doing that? Let's see, XRP stablecoin. Issuing stablecoins on the XRP ledger. Boom. All right, built for payments, XRPL can also be used to support issuance of stablecoins with a unique fungible token functionality called issued currencies. Issued currencies is designed to be the ideal stablecoin platform, providing simple but rich management functionality for the issuer that makes it easy to create, issue, and manage any assets, including stablecoins. All right, so that does sound very similar to what Stellar is doing. Then the easiest thing to do here, XRP versus XLM. According to money.yahoo, while XRP focuses more on the banking sector, the latter being XLM, sections of the world without financial institutions. All right, so for this very brief view, we're just going to trust that explanation. They're both incredibly high in terms of popularity and market value, and the prices are relatively similar. So basically, we're just looking at this spreading technology while Stellar targets the unbanked. All right, so again, this is fundamental analysis for you to know and make your own decisions. And we've found out that Stellar's big focus is on people who don't have that access to banking structures, while Ripple is more about using this technology maybe amongst the banks. So you can decide which of these value propositions is better. Or if you think they're both good, there's nothing stopping you from investing in both. So sometimes while you're doing fundamental analysis about one thing, you'll hear about another project that you also like. You can do your own analysis on that. Nobody says if you buy XRP, you can't buy XLM, or the other way around. But if you're only looking at one, or you think that only one is going to win out, then you better decide which one. The best thing to do would be to do the entire fundamental analysis for both of them and write down all of the pros and cons and do a comparison. Or to keep it really simple, you can just look at this. Institutions that already have access to banking, making it easier, basically the more traditional people already involved in finance, or focusing on people who maybe don't have that easy access to banking, don't really have strong financial institutions to support them. So you can decide which of these value propositions sounds better, or you can decide they both sound good. It's really up to you. Okay, we've gone through all of our points except for the last one, which is the white paper. which actually can get really deep and technical because they're going to put all of their ideas into there about how they're going to make it, what they're planning on doing, all of these kinds of things. So it's not exactly basic, but finding it and looking at it at least is basic. So that's what we're going to do today. Just take a quick look. All right, since we've been using Google, we'll just do that again and just look at the Stellar Lumens white paper. Boom, go directly to their site. And here they do have the white paper, and you can even download it if you'd like to. Or you can read it here. We see it's 32 pages, so I'm gonna go ahead and start reading. Just kidding, I'm not gonna read through it all. All right, so this is a very long document. It's gonna have a ton of technical terms. It's really trying to show the people who really know what they're looking at what the project is trying to do. Of course, if you don't know that much about blockchain or cryptocurrencies, there's going to be a lot of stuff in here that you don't understand. That's fine if you're trying to build your knowledge and get better at understanding all of these. White papers are really good to read. Not only are you learning about that project, but you can use the white paper as a jumping off point to learn about the specific things they talk about. So for example, this paper presents Federated Byzantine Agreement. Maybe you have no idea what that is, but you can go look up Byzantine Agreement and then you learn a new term. And every time you read a white paper, you can learn a little bit more, slowly develop your knowledge base. And the more you know, the more you'll get from these fundamental analysis. But one thing we can say without going into any real technical detail is we see that they do have a very official looking white paper that's 32 pages long and seems to go into a lot of detail. So even if we don't know anything, we can at least take that as a good sign that they have thought about what they're doing and it's not just a random idea that has no particular value. So there you go. The more you want to read about quorum intersection, that's good. The more you can learn. Let's do a quick recap of what we've looked at today and then talk about what we'll look at next week when we dig a little bit deeper into this fundamental analysis of stellar lumens. All right, so the first question we looked at is what is it? And we found that it is its own blockchain and that it's focused on providing a resource for developers to make their own asset-backed cryptocurrency at a 1-to-1 ratio. So asset-backed, meaning something like backed by the US dollar, but then putting it on the blockchain, making it decentralized and borderless. And that one of their main objectives is to use this to bring this kind of finances to people who might not be able to have them otherwise. So for example, one of the use cases they listed was somebody living in a country that doesn't have a good banking institution and they want to have a better store of value somewhere. And then they can actually buy, say, USD equivalent that was made on Stellar. And then even though they don't actually have a US bank account, they can still hold the equivalent of USD. Which, when we're looking at USD, there's a lot of options for this. But again, Stellar is providing a platform for developers to make this. And then we looked at who is behind it. There wasn't anybody insanely famous, but that's normal. But we did look up two of the co-founders, and at least one of them had a big list of things that he had worked on, and we could see that he has been influential in the blockchain space for many years now. We then tried to find who is using it, and then we found on their website this list of other projects that are using Stellar. And we found that Circle is using it. Then we searched Circle and we found Circle made USD coin and that's a very top cryptocurrency with a really large market cap, which gave a lot more validity to Stellar. We then asked if it's unique and who its competitors are and if it has anything going for it over the competitors. We found that Ripple is considered its main competitor doing essentially the same thing, but that Ripple was more focused on existing bank structures and just making them decentralized and borderless, while Stellar is focusing more on people who maybe don't have that access to traditional banks. And as I said before, you can make your own decisions about that. You can decide to invest in one or the other, or neither, up to you. But if you're choosing one or the other, then you can decide which one you think has more potential to impact the world, to grow. So if you think that there's more potential in providing these services to people who maybe don't have them, then you'll probably lean more towards Stellar. And then at the end, we checked the white paper, which they had a very good professional looking white paper. And as I said, if you don't know that much about blockchain, maybe there's a ton of stuff in there you won't know. Even people who do know a lot about blockchain probably won't know everything because as it's supposed to be, it's a very technical document. But reading through the white paper can still be really helpful if you're trying to build up your knowledge base. You can search terms that you don't know, and then you'll know them if you remember them. So anyway, that was our very basic fundamental analysis, part 1. I'll do a part 2 next week, and we'll dig a little bit deeper, but still keep it rather basic. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please do the usual like, follow, subscribe, turn on notifications, all of those kinds of things. As you probably know, it helps out a lot whenever you have a YouTube channel, whenever people do these sorts of interactions. So, appreciate your support. If you do like these videos, keep following us and stay tuned for the part 2 of the fundamental analysis of Stellar. All right, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.